Okay.
No, that's
Starting with
fine. That is fine. So yeah, we moved to Marietta in the summer of 2014. And since then we've had kids in Rail Ranch Elementary School, Buchanan Elementary School, Chevala Middle School, Warm Springs Middle School, and Vista Marietta High School. And I've also been a substitute teacher in most of the elementary schools in the district. So even though we've only been here for about 7 years in the community, we've been extremely involved in the district and in the education process.
And having said all that, I mean, we were asked to share some tips and insights as a family with you all. But I must admit that sounds kind of formal. It sounds like we got everything all figured out, and nothing could actually be further from the truth. So like all of you, we're still making our way through all of this. So while tips and insights might look better on this PowerPoint, when you see tips and insights, just think about this is what we did, or this is what we're doing. And maybe that makes more sense to you than tips and insights. But we're going to break this into 3 pieces, and we're going to talk about tips and insights for parents, which Melanie and I will talk about. Then we'll talk about for high schoolers, which Nikki will talk about. And then for middle schoolers, which Erica will talk about as she just got out of middle school. So here we go. So we'll start off with the first slide, which is the first thing that we've done as parents, if you click on that, is number one, is we tried to build a firm foundation on which to succeed. And what that means is that, we're people of faith, and what that means is on Christ, the solid rock we stand, and everything else is sinking sand. And that's what we believe in. So we just try to stay in the word and try to understand what God is doing so that we can work with him and not against him.
And so to that end, education is at the top of the list of how we think we break the equity and disparity that has persisted for generations. Now, we said education is important, but we're not necessarily saying college is the best route for everybody. It may be. We think anybody who can go to college should, but we also believe that career paths and trades are valid options too. So Alfonso, who has his bachelor's degree in computer science, grew up poor in Louisiana. His mom didn't graduate high school, and his dad didn't finish middle school. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology and grew up in a middle-class family with 2 college-educated parents. My dad used his GI Bill to get his bachelor's degree in physics from Hampton University, and he ultimately got a master's degree in physics from Cal State Long Beach. So there's a will, there's a way, whether it's, college, whether it's career paths, whether it's trade, but education is what we really feel is important to, again, just break those cycles, that have kind of had us in a tough situation for generations.
But the one thing that our parents would always tell us, and I'm sure you guys have heard it, is get your education, because when you got something in your head, then no one can take it from you. So we make certain that we relay that message on to our kids today. So that's the first thing, is building a firm foundation. The second thing is we set expectations. And every single day I remind my kids and my family that we're not like everybody else. They know that don't mean that we're better than anybody, and it don't mean that anybody's better than us, but we just simply are not like, we don't just follow the crowd. And what we try to instill in our kids is that God has a plan and a purpose for all of us. And while we're trying to figure out what God is doing, we got to make certain that we don't mess up so bad that we dig a hole that's so deep that we spend our life trying to get out of it. And what that means, again, is that we expect our kids and ourselves to treat people the way we want to be treated. Full stop, period. That's what we expect. And we expect our kids to be the best version of themselves. We expect that of ourselves, and we expect it of our kids.
Yeah, for example, our son, who's currently, I said he's a junior at the University of North Texas, he heard the same stuff that we taught Nikki and Erica. But in high school, he simply didn't want to apply himself. He finished high school with maybe a 2.9 GPA. So we have a 2.9 GPA and we have a valedictorian. But he was right in the middle of the pack. He was like, I think he had 800 kids in his class, and he was probably number 400. Nothing that we said or did really seemed to motivate him. But thankfully God worked out through the COVID situation, COVID shutdown, and George Floyd awakening, and junior college, he was awakened. And we knew he wasn't mentally ready for a four-year university out of high school. So community college was the perfect option for him. So we went that route with him. And that was an expectation that when he went to community college, we did it, we expected him to apply himself there. And life circumstances helped him to do that. And COVID gave us all time to reset and reevaluate. And the George Floyd murder woke up our 20-year-old Black son from La La Land. And it kind of opened his heart and his mind to what we had been teaching him for years. So even though he didn't get it right off the bat, we knew God was at work, and he didn't understand those expectations right away, but they were there and he understood them. So again, like my husband said, setting those expectations is important.
And now he's at North Texas studying history and learning the details of our great and complicated country. And he's studying history to prepare for a possible career in teaching that would allow him to go back into the schools and feed into the next generation. So again, it's a good thing that he didn't quit. And it's a good thing that he didn't dig a hole, get himself into trouble, whether it's academically or physically in trouble, that it took him a lifetime to dig out of it. So even though he did the opposite of the stuff that Nikki's going to talk about in a second, he still bought enough into our expectations where he didn't sink to rock bottom. So that's about setting expectation. Number 3 is we teach and we model personal responsibility and accountability. And for parents here tonight, I'm certain that there's one thing we got in common with all of our kids. Nothing is ever their fault, ever. So, but what we found is that it is impossible for us anyway to teach personal responsibility and accountability unless we allow the kid to have some say in the decisions that we're making. So as much as we sometimes want to make decisions for them to keep them from making mistakes, and we know we've made a whole bunch of them ourselves, but we sometimes, need to back off and let them make some decisions and some mistakes. As long as that, and for us, as long as that decision doesn't conflict with who we are as Jesus follower and as moral people, then we let them make their decision so they can own the decision. And since when they own it, there's no one else to blame. And we provide direction and advice, but the kids have to have some skin in the game. So in all things, we teach them that we're not victims, we're ultimately the victors. And so if they take ownership of, and we always say, if you take ownership of an issue, then you can fix it. If you blame someone else, then you have to wait for them to fix it if they want to fix it.
And along those same lines of personal responsibility and accountability, in our house, if something's going sideways in one of our kids' classes, we don't allow them to start off with my teacher, this or that. Instead, we say, what was your role in this? So it may be, Erica may tell me, Mom, I didn't understand the material, or I turned an assignment in late. But then we can walk through the issue, framing the teacher as a partner and not as the problem. So for us, that's been a big part of it. We always give the teacher the benefit of the doubt unless they show us otherwise.
Can you say that one more time? One more time for the people.
We always give the teacher the benefit of the doubt.
Unless they show us otherwise. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And which leads us to number 4, really, which is providing support. And let me see how to say this. We start off with providing support, saying, this is the art of saying, I tried to tell you with your hard-headed, ungrateful, know-it-all self, without saying, I tried to tell you with your hard-headed, know-it-all, ungrateful self. We still have to support them. So we have to give them space to learn from their mistakes. But as parents, what we found out is that we will ultimately never agree to decisions that we can't ultimately support. I mean, to be clear, and I want to be clear, we're not telling anybody here what decisions you should agree to and all of that, and that you can support. But what we are saying is that as parents, we ultimately have the God-given responsibility to have the final say, at least while they're with us. So we have to use it wisely. And sometimes the answer is no. And sometimes the answer is too much, is just too much. But this also means partnering, like Melanie talked about, with our students, teachers and coaches and counselors, what have you.
Yeah, we realize we have to be proactive in classes and organizations. Before COVID, either myself, my husband, or both of us had met every teacher our kids have ever had. We don't wait until something goes wrong. We create relationships with the teachers from day one to let them know that we're partners in this effort. We want the teachers to know that we're just an email or a phone call away. And we want them to know that our expectations are that our kids will not only not be a problem, but will be a positive addition to their class. And this means being involved in as many facets of their life as possible. It seems like a lot at first, but as the process moves along, we've been able to become less and less involved in that, and our children take up more of the role. Now we've got a high school, our youngest is a high schooler, and she does a lot of the communicating with her teachers, and we kind of just lead her and guide her in that.
And I want to say this, last thing about support. I mean, this also means stepping in to advocate on behalf of our kids when the system gets in the way. So sometimes we do have to step in and advocate. But I also want to say this. I don't want to neglect this important part. It also sometimes may mean stepping in to advocate to my kid on behalf of their teachers. We've encountered, some phenomenal and encouraging teachers who sometimes see things in our kids that we may not see and our kids may not see. So we have to sometimes make sure that we don't misconstrue their attempts to help, as a bad thing. And like we talked about before, good teacher-parent relationships can help with that. And last but not least, we talk about providing stability.
Yeah, when we started our family over 21 years ago, we decided I would stay home. And we know that everyone can't do this. We weren't even sure we could. Alfonso was raised by a single mom, and both of my parents worked outside of the home. But that was our choice, and God honored it. I talked about support a few minutes ago, and I know that every parent can't be at every meeting or every event that their kid has. Teachers know that too, because they have kids. But you'd be surprised how far an email or a text to your kids' teachers can go. So make sure from the beginning of the school year, that you're reaching out to those teachers and just letting them know that you're available. Even if you work second or third shift, or even if you're a single parent, you're juggling a lot of things, just let them know, hey, I may not be able to come to this, but please give me a call or please send me an email, and we can talk, and we're partners in this. Routine and presence is the key. Kids act differently when they know you're going to be present, and kids act differently when they can depend on consistent routines. And we try to keep the drama in our house to a minimum. In other words, the kids have never heard Alfonso and I screaming or cursing at each other. So why would they think they could do that? So we just try to make sure we keep the routine going.
And listen, as we wrap this part up, I'm not naive. We know that there's all sorts of drama going on in our homes. One of the parts that I didn't say earlier is that I pastored a church for 15 years in Florida before we left there, before we came to California. So we are very familiar with family drama. And we didn't put stability last because it's least. We put it last, we put it here because it may be the hardest and in some ways the most important. Because here's the thing, when there's instability in the home, it will transcend any and everything that is going on at the schools, and it will put our kids at a disadvantage. And it's difficult for our kids to focus on math and science and reading and history when there's too much instability. Now, I remember telling our kids when we were moving to California that we were moving, and my son TJ and Nikki, they just bust out and started crying and wailing. And of course, Erica, she was young, she started crying because they were crying. But the thing, and because everything was changing, they were going to miss their friends, they were going to miss their schools, they were going to miss everything they knew. But the one thing that we knew is that wherever we were going to be together. And so again, we just remind any parent here tonight that whatever's going on, that if you're struggling with unnecessary drama, that, we urge you in whatever way, get help, deal with it, because we can talk all we want about college and educate our kids, but if we've got stuff going on in the home that's providing instability, it will hinder our kids. No way around it. So those are the tips that we can come up with for parents. And remember, I told you this when we started. This is not necessarily how it's done. This is how we did it and how we are doing it. And on that note, I'll pass it to Nikki, who will talk about a few things from the high school perspective.
Hi, can everybody hear me okay?
We do.
Okay, I'm Nikki Triss. I graduated from Vista Marietta class of 2021. My class is valedictorian, and I'm currently sitting in a hallway at UCLA, which is where I currently go to school. I'm studying computer science, so hopefully it stays quiet. It's been quiet, but these are my tips. Kind of like my dad said, this is what worked for me. So hopefully people will find that this works for them too. But my number one tip for people who want to try and be successful in high school is just to, number one, make sure that you're setting goals, constantly setting goals. So like that goal for me, one of those goals was to be valedictorian, but it doesn't have to be that. It could be getting a certain grade in a class, whatever that grade may be, or having all your homework assignments turned in on time. Like whatever that goal is, you just need to have goals because they force you to hold yourself accountable. And they give you like a sense of direction so that you're not just going through high school, wandering aimlessly, having no idea why you're doing what you're doing. It helps things become more important to you when you know why you're doing them. And I think setting goals helps you realize why you're doing stuff. And in setting goals, my advice would be just not to be intimidated. Don't be afraid by any goal. Don't be like, oh, I don't want to do this goal because I'll have to do more work than I was doing before, and you're scared that you can't handle it, or like whatever it is, just push yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit. Like I'm sure you'll thank yourself for it later. So that's number one. Tip number two would be to just make sure that you're managing your time wisely. There should be time for everything. Like you should have time to study, time to have fun, time to sleep. Like there is space for everything, but the problem is when you don't manage your time for having fun and hanging out with friends kind of spills over into the time that you're supposed to be doing work. I know that was the case for me. So something that worked for me throughout high school was just staying busy. Like I mentioned, I was the valedictorian, so I took AP and dual classes. I was a varsity athlete. I joined clubs and that sort of thing. And that's just something that worked for me because I didn't have any time to procrastinate. Everything needed to be done immediately, and it kept me accountable. But whatever it is for you, just make sure that you have a schedule and that you're sticking to that schedule. And then my last tip would be to know your learning style. And so what I mean by that is, I was talking to somebody about this the other day. So like when you're studying for a math test, some people need to do 5 problems every day for a week leading up to the test, and that's how they study. I was never somebody who needed to do that. My brain didn't really care when I did the math. I just needed to do it at some point. So I could do 30 problems the night before a test and feel pretty good about it and like feel like I had retained the information. You just need to learn, and this is an ongoing process, just learn how you study best because it'll save you time so that you're not constantly going back, relearning the stuff that you thought you knew. It's more efficient, it'll save you time, and it'll help you as you go through high school and as you move into higher education. Because yeah, it's just more efficient that way. So yep, that's it for me. Those are my main 3 tips. And I don't think I'll be able to stay on for the entire Zoom meeting, but if anybody wants to ever contact me or has any questions or anything they want to say, I can just throw my email in the chat if that's okay. And if anybody ever wants to reach out, they can. So
Nikki,
Yeah.
that would be great if you can put that in the chat.
of course, okay, I'll put that in right now and I'll pass it off to my sister. So thank you.
Thank you so
Nikki,
much.
Thank you. Amazing. Good tips.
All right, so here comes Erica. She's up with the next slide.
Hi, I'm Erica, and I'm a 9th grader at Vista. And last year I was an 8th grader at Warm Springs. And just for my first tip, I would say that something that Warm Springs really showed me that I wouldn't have known the importance of is getting organized and staying organized. And it really means a lot in terms of doing work and staying organized, to just go the extra mile or really just do the extra few steps that it takes to either hole punch your papers or put your notes in order or put all your papers in chronological order, and just not have a bunch of stuff stuffed into the front of your binder. Just those few steps, it really goes a long way in terms of getting your work done on time and making sure that you know where everything is. And using an agenda is one of the most important things that really helped in, I think, the transition from elementary school to middle school and middle school to high school. Just knowing when you need to get things done, how you need to do it, what order you need to do it, and prioritizing things. It really goes a long way, and it doesn't take that long to do. So that would be my first tip. And my second tip would be to always just ask questions and not be afraid to do that, because sometimes it can be humbling to have to go to a teacher and ask, but I learned the hard way that it's the worst feeling to be at home and have to do a homework assignment that's due the next day or study for a test, and you have no idea what you're doing, and because you were afraid to ask questions in class. And sometimes it takes more than in some classes, it takes more than effort than in other classes. And that can mean either just stopping by the teacher's desk in the middle of class to ask a question or two and just get a short response. Or sometimes, which I've had to do, I've had to go in during lunch and tell my friends that I'm not going to be there that day because I need to learn how to do the math that we're doing in class or learn the material for a test that I have tomorrow. And it's one of those things that it's small and it may seem like it doesn't matter a lot, but it really does go a long way to just know the basics of what you're doing. And it also goes into staying organized and just having things organized in your brain and on paper. And these are, again, just things that worked for me. And I think I turned out all right. So,
So far.
so far.
We'll be the judge of that.
So that's it for me.
So those are our tips from the anxious mother of fifth grader. Yeah, I saw that in the chat. She'll be
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with Erica more. That agenda, keeping that agenda caught up and working with that, as well as the organizational skills. Erica told me last night when she was going to talk, she said, I'm going to say, keep your binder together. So,
Thank you, Erica. That what you said just hit a lot of stuff on the head. I have a seventh grader at Warm Springs, and we are constantly, especially these last 2 weeks, because it was progress report time. And I'm like, you need to go talk to your teachers, And I think a lot of kids shy away from that, going in and getting the help. So those were some really good tips. Thank you for that information.
thank you.
I was
Thank you.
happy
Thank
I was
you.
able to be here.
Yeah, thank you for allowing our family to share.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kirk family. I really appreciate that. You guys got your whole family together and brought some amazing information. I know that being valedictorian, but also being a student is so important and takes a lot of support and work from the total family. So I love the way you guys meshed it all together. Okay.
Let me throw this out there real quick.
Yes, throw it out there.
Yeah, with our son, he's not here tonight. He's on a different time zone, but we want to say too, I don't think we said, we may have, but he's doing fantastic at the University of North Florida. So North Texas. We're from Florida, at the University of North Texas. So yeah, I just want to give him props as well, since he couldn't be on the call. So.
Props to
Thank
Alfonso
you.
the third, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yes. Props
And
to
tell
Alfonso
him
the third.
congratulations too.
Yes.
Will do.
Thank
Will
you.
do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So
All
I'm
right.
stopping screen sharing right
Yeah.
now, right?
And then you're going to pull up the other screen.
Okay. All right, everyone. This has been like the best meeting ever. Everything that could go right or wrong has. Okay. So I am pulling up a new screen.
Should I ask? Hey, let me jump in real quick. I didn't
Please
read.
jump in.
Yeah, I didn't read the whole question that somebody said they were the parent of an anxious, they were anxious parent of a fifth
Oh,
grader.
yes.
And she asked about, I didn't see the rest of the question. She asked about how was the transition going from class to class. Do you want to address that real quick, Erica?
It was not a bad transition, and that's mostly what I was specifically talking about with my tips, was that's what made it easiest, was having everything organized. And I don't know if this still happens, but there was like a class for this and like a transition kind of period that they had for us to learn how to take notes and learn how to send emails and like communicate with teachers. And I think just learning those things right off the bat made things a lot easier for 6th grade and really now, just to know how to be able to communicate and do all those things.
Thank you, Erica.
You're welcome.
No problem.
Okay, so right now we're about to take a moment. As many of you know, this APAC thing, let me get through it, I can't cry. Started with Erica Bennett. She was a big part of it. Try not to cry.
Don't cry.
But Marguerite talk.
Okay, so honestly, I was actually brought into the APAC by Miss Erica Bennett, just for me emailing her crazy stuff like, oh, this is so good, keep doing this. And I was just a teacher, was a parent also, but she started sending us information about APAC from the teacher parent side. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So then when we got to work with her, myself and Raquel and many other parents that started, we just felt like, oh my gosh, it's been just the most amazing experience for me as a person, as a teacher, as a student. She's been our confidant, our guide, our leader. Right now we're texting her crazy stuff right now as we speak. And she's like, ah! So she has pretty much just brought us through. So we want to acknowledge her because she is moving on, not moving away, just moving on to the Riverside County Office of Education. And I think she's gone now officially. I think her last day was Friday at Murrieta Mesa as our AP. And now she is now officially Riverside County Office of Ed, College and Career for the whole Riverside County. So we just wanted to acknowledge her and say congratulations, but she's not gone because she's still Riverside County. So put your hands together for Erica Bennett. Maybe you want to pin her so you can look at her. And I think I'm supposed to share another screen. So
while we were on here right now, we just had flowers and a plaque delivered to her.
Oh, so it just came to her house.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I can't.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, we just robbed her. And she lives in a gated community. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Tanisha.
Tanisha's here right now.
Thank you so much, Tanisha. She has a plaque. I don't know if you can see it, but we have a plaque and flowers from your APAC and Murrieta Valley families. So we love you, Erica.
I thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You know, I love you guys. I am here and will always be here. And it's because it's about our families and throughout Riverside County. So I love you. Thank you to the entire Murrieta Valley family. Because as everyone knows, after 26 years, this is my family too. So my husband's here and he was
put Mark on the screen. I've been texting your husband on the down low.
You guys got me, but
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Thank you guys. Thank you, Tanisha. I don't know if you see our parent back there, Tanisha. She was waiting in the dark outside of her house. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Erica. We know you're not going to be gone. I will be emailing you and texting you all kinds of crazy stuff all the time.
We love you. I had to get myself together for a minute.
All right. So. Finish your speech, Raquel, if there's anything else you want to say.
No, I don't want to say anything else. You said it all. We love you. What you've done with this has been wonderful, and we just wish you the best.
Yeah, we want to make you proud, Miss Bennett.
You got to show your plaque and your flowers.
You guys always make me proud. So
no, we know that's
I will show this. It says Award of Excellence presented to Erica Bennett. Thank you from Murrieta Valley Unified School District, APAC.
Yes.
So, and they also know that my favorite color is what?
Pink.
Pink.
And green.
And green. So.
Take it out of the background,
I know.
Erica.
It's the
Oh.
background. They blended in with the background.
Oh, I forgot. Hold on. Look, the technology person is supposed to know this stuff. Lord Jesus.
Okay, now she turned her camera on.
After a year and a half, really, Erica?
Thank you, my brother.
Oh.
So
Okay.
here's the beautiful flowers. Thank you.
It has your camera off now. You gotta turn your camera back on.
Oh, Lord. Gee.
Sorry, everybody.
They're like, what the
Okay,
heck?
there we go.
Oh, there they
Yes, thank you guys for
There's
writing
the
all your
black.
well misses in the chat.
Yes, and thank you for the messages throughout the chat. Thank you. And thank you for
Oh,
my
those are
colleagues
beautiful.
and family that are
Mhm.
on. So thank you guys. Tanisha's here. Tanisha, just sit down since we're in the meeting together.
Okay, guys. Oh. Okay, well, after that moment, we're gonna move on, I guess.
We gotta jump back into
It's
it.
a little emotional, but we're going to move on. So I'm hoping you can see HBCU. Yes?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
So from the current slide.
current slide.
Okay, so I know that this is our moving back into what our theme was, which was college readiness. We really wanted to spotlight not only insights, tips, get you ready, but also get you excited about different opportunities. Raquel and I are wearing our Black College Expo shirts because we really want to spotlight our HBCU, which are our historically Black colleges. And for the record, we got these shirts because Erica organized a trip for, I want to say, I don't know how many years, several years, taking students to the Black College Expo in Los Angeles and exposing them to all kinds of colleges are there and military careers. There are different groups there, but at the historically Black College Expo. But we have some Marietta students that are now moved on, and they are either our teachers or our students who are in college now. And one of them is Miss Laura Bennett, and she went to, I believe, Vista Marietta. So I'm not sure, Lauren, if you're on here or not. I can't see anything, but if you are, feel free to unmute yourself. We were going to just ask them to just basically give some information about being an HBCU student and the joys that that might bring. And we also are going to have that from Mr. Wallington Torrey also.
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Can you all see me now?
Yes.
My name is Lauren Bennett. I'm Erica Bennett's daughter. I attend Tuskegee University. I'm in my senior year right now, so I would be graduating with my BSN, so Bachelor of Science in Nursing in May. So that is very exciting. So I'll give you guys a little insight into how I chose Tuskegee, how it's going, being at a HBCU, and all of that good stuff. So I did attend Vista Marietta. I loved it. I was definitely involved. I was in sports, clubs, leadership, all of it. I was in it for sure. And then when I was applying for colleges, I know that with nursing, it is definitely a very challenging profession to be in, and especially coming from high school to college and trying to get your degree in 4 years. I definitely wanted to do that. So I knew that the best chance would be to go out of state, get a new experience, be around new people, new atmosphere. So if you guys do not know, Tuskegee University is in Alabama. So it's definitely a big change from Marietta, being born and raised there. But it's definitely good for sure. It's a smaller school. It's about the size of Vista Marietta. So that was definitely a change as well, to be in a smaller school. It was very important to my first 2 years before getting accepted into the professional phase of nursing was focusing on my academics. And like the Kirk's family had said before, and Erica had said, with being in touch with your professors. So for me, it's great being at HBCU. For one, they definitely, you get closer connections with your professors, and they're very good with keeping their doors open, checking in, having their email, or even some teachers will give you a cell phone. So I definitely stress being connected with your professors, and also too with the virtual world. For nursing, we can't really, slack with the virtual, so we're still in person doing clinicals in the hospital, but I do stress to participate in your classes and just make sure your teachers know who you are and all that good stuff. And then specifically though, going into being at a HBCU, it's definitely great because I didn't really get that side of being around African Americans who are striving for Black excellence. Your teachers are pushing you towards the best that you can be, and being in that smaller setting, as well as we always have career fairs where companies will come down and look for so that you get internships, and there's just a lot of guest speakers who come. And being at a HBCU really has enlightened me on being an African American and all the possibilities that you have when you don't usually see that sometimes, and people are always trying to uplift you. And it's really great to be there, especially too with me in the healthcare field. I'm definitely looking at some representation, so that would be good for when I graduate with my BSN for sure. So I don't know if you guys have any specific questions for me or anything.
I don't have a specific question. I just have a comment. You look so beautiful and so young. I thought you were in high school. I mean, I'm sorry to like break the seriousness of this meeting, but I have to give props where props is due. You look so amazing and you speak so well. I'm so excited because now I'm just like, okay, I am the mother of the anxious elementary school student, you know, who is going to be doing great things, and is so glad to see you and know that. I mean, I know that she'll understand it from seeing, you know, the teachers and the leadership that is on here. However, just to see someone close in age to her, I think that's really encouraging. And she over here pulling me like, "Mommy, be quiet." But I, I have to say it, like, you look amazing. Because she asked me, she was like, "Well, how old is she?" I was like, "Honey, she's in college, but she looks good." And you have that to look forward to, you know? So yes, you good inspiration.
Thank you so much. And yes, I am 21. I get that a lot though, that I look very young. Every time at the airport, they're always asking me to show the ID because they do not think I'm 21. But I definitely do appreciate it. Thank you for sure.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you, Lauren. Look
We
at the Bennett
appreciate
family
you.
just shining.
Of course. Thank you guys for allowing me to speak. And if you guys have any questions, drop them in the chat. I will be happy to respond for sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I love hearing it. And she does look like a baby girl, but I love that you guys are doing it. I love it.
Yes, especially with my puffs. I haven't got my hair done yet.
I know. Your Afro puffs. So cute. Beautiful. Look at your baby, Erica.
I know.
So proud.
Lauren, you know, you could talk a little bit about the opportunities that you've had the last 2 summers that have specifically been for students that are attending historically Black colleges or universities. You want to share a little bit about that?
Sure. So again, how, like I said, with career fairs and everything, and how Tuskegee definitely stresses getting internships in undergrad, so then once you graduate you will have a job or jobs prospects. But for me, since with nursing you will have a job once you graduate, but the last 2 summers I was with the Department of Defense, their HBCU MI summer internship research program. So it was based in Texas. However, you know, with virtual and being on the military base, I couldn't be there physically, but I was still meeting 40 hours a week doing all that good stuff. So I was doing surgical research. My topic was the intercellular pathways of platelet aggregation, specifically cyclic GMP. So with that, there are so many different areas of the Department of Defense, and mine just happens to be in Texas for surgical research and focusing on nursing and platelets in that aspect. But you can be agricultural business. Oh my gosh, there's so many, chemistry, biomed, anything that the Department of Defense will offer, you can be in that program, but mine just specifically happened to be with surgical research. So that's what I did the last 2 summers, and I was very blessed to be able to do that and gain a lot of experience with that internship that allowed me to make very good connections for once I graduate.
Wow. That's all I'm saying. Wow. Wow, that was so good, Lauren. Amazing. Feel free to put questions for Lauren in the chat. We're going to try to keep it moving. The next person is Tori Wadlington. And Tori, I'm not sure, I hope you're there. I can't see anything, but if you are there, Tori, I think you're a resource teacher at like 10 schools. I'm just exaggerating, I'm not sure, but I know you are super busy. So we appreciate you, Tori, coming, because Tori is also a graduate of Marietta Valley High School, and he also came back and now he worked for Marietta. Woo. So Tori is also an HBCU graduate. So Tori, I'm going to let you take over.
All righty, thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'm Tori Watlington. I graduated from Marietta Valley in 2009, and I went to Grambling State University. So before I get into my experiences there, I have to kind of explain how I even ended up there. So I had no desire to go to college at all. I didn't like school at all. I did just enough to pass my classes with like a C and enough to just not get in trouble. So right before I was about to graduate, when everybody was getting accepted into colleges, Grambling was out here doing a tour in Southern California. And I guess they came by the school and nobody came to it. So I don't know anything about it. All I know is that a couple of weeks later, I come home and my mom is all excited and she's like, congratulations. And I was like, oh man, what happened? And she was like, oh, you got in. I was like, I got in to what? Like, what you talking about? I got in. She's like, oh, you got into Grambling State. Like, and I was like, I didn't apply to Grambling State. And she's like, oh no, I applied for you. And I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, oh, I figured you forgot to apply for school because there was just no way you were going to wait this long and not have a plan. And so I was like, I don't want to go to Grambling State. And my dad just came out of nowhere, just like, I guess you plan on moving out somewhere then, huh? So I had no choice. And my mom was like, yeah, you move in about a month. So get your affairs in order. So yeah, just randomly, I was just thrust into an HBCU, and it was a big, major culture shock coming from Marietta, where there's not even a lot of African Americans here now, and it's like 10 times as many at least, like as it was when I was here in 2009. It was like nobody here. So when I got down there, I was immediately just kind of like, man, I am not used to seeing all these, African American people, and everybody was like just driving lowriders, bumping music. Just like, I just saw people dressed like just all the cool people I saw like on music videos. And I was like, what is this? Then like the next day, those same people would be like walking in lab coats and business suits. And I was like, this is like a whole different world. And I just fell in love with it. It was just like, I love it so much that I annoy my family because I swear I'm from the South, because I feel like that's where I found myself. So everything I've learned is how to communicate with people, how to be professional, how to network, just all these different things I've learned at an HBCU. I remember just being so pressed about making sure I had a very nice outfit to wear for the day. Just like, man, I got to make sure I have a nice polo tucked into my pants and my boat shoes. Yeah. But I'm like, yeah, no one's doing the boat shoes no more. But that was when I was there. Had my Timberlands on and like my nice like turtleneck sweater. I just wanted to look so cool and professional all the time. And I had a blast there. Like just from the 1 year there, I remember telling my mom, like, thank you so much. Like, I don't know like how I would have been if you hadn't like just threw me into here. And I've always encouraged African-American students, like just do 1 year there. If you can just do 1 year at the HBCU, like I promise you, like if you don't want to stay, that's cool. But you'll never like experience anything like just being around nothing but like Black people who want to be professional, who have goals in life, who want to boost each other up and work hard. It's just so refreshing and amazing. And you make lifelong friends. I have friends now who like, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna know them for the rest of my life. I talk to them every week. And just, it was just a great experience. A lot of fun times, a lot of hard times, but you grow together. And college is hard for everybody, especially financially. And it's just easier when you're with people who are kind of used to the same type of struggle as you. And so it's like, hey, man, we can just, eat fried bologna sandwiches. Everybody knows what that is. Let's just do that real quick. And we'll figure it out. We know what to do. So it was just great. And then just like Lauren said, the professors are so attentive and just there for you. I've had professors invite me to church. Like, hey, come to church with me. And then afterwards, I'll help you with that essay and I'll do that. And she'll make me a big old thing of red beans to take home to my friends. So it's just like great, great stuff you'll never get anywhere else. And just the energy there, all that stuff like on Drumline and Stump the Yard, that's like not exaggerated at all. It's like really for real, like every single day. I was on the yard one day and somebody just came and put like a snake over my neck. He had to go check the mail and they wouldn't let it in, let him in the mail room because he had this snake. So I'm just on the yard chilling and he just comes up behind me. He's like, hey, yo, hold this, Playboy, and just put it on my shoulder. And I'm just sitting there frozen with this snake on my neck. And he comes out and just picks it up and he's like, thank you, and just leaves. I can do nothing about it. So I just went to Church's Chicken, got me a toothpiece and went back to my room. So I was like, all right, it is what it is. And that's just HBCU experiences for you. All these fun things. The learning is great. The teachers are just so great because they look like you, so they know like, hey, I'm gonna give you the real. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I'm gonna make sure you're straight. Teachers might invite you to like networking opportunities. Your friends, all you guys are gonna go to those things together and just grow together. And it's just such a phenomenal experience. I think about it every single day. Like if I could do it over again, I would. Everything I went through, the pledging, the hard stuff, the fun stuff, the cool Black celebrities coming to school, and just all these different things. The time Genuine asked me to go to the club with him, and I said no. I regret it every single day now. It's always all these cool things. It's so fantastic. And when you come back, you just feel like so proud, or almost like you have the answer for your people. You're like, look, I see some of y'all lost out here. Like I was like that too. And I got the answer for you. So like, if you need help, I know how to like be real with you. I know how to check in with your mental health and not make you feel nervous about it, and just different things. It's a phenomenal experience. It's so weird right now because everything is silent. So it almost feels like I've been talking to myself this whole time. But
Thank you, Tori. I had to mute myself because I was dying of laughter.
I definitely had to stay on mute because you
Yes.
just took me there. Sounds
Thank
amazing.
you.
So,
But
any
you were,
questions?
that's real information though.
Yes. So
Real
good. Please, I'm
information.
sure if you want to ask questions about Church's Chicken, red beans and rice, or the snake, but also about HBCU, please write in the chat. And then I know Tori is part of our school district. So if you're a parent or a teacher or
Yes.
anyone, you could email him also, and I'm sure he would have lots of stories for you.
Tori, can you put your email in the chat in case someone, you know, they might want to reach out, have any questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Thank you
and Mary
so much,
Walter
Tori.
said, we are so proud of you. Yes, because he's a
Oh.
district baby.
Yes,
I
he
Him
is.
and your
am.
mom, Marietta
Yes, Tori.
Brand.
I love your mom. She's the best. She's like, you're out. And your dad too. Okay.
You know, Miss Diane's not playing.
Right?
You already know.
Going. I remember
They was
that
gonna put me
very
on the streets
specifically.
for real. They weren't lying. They were really about that. Like so.
So while Tori is maybe writing things in the chat, we just wanted to just throw out there that for Black colleges, they have what's called the Black Common app. I don't know if you're familiar, but it's an amazing thing. You can, for $20, you can apply to all of these. And they do give admissions on the spot. Also, if you go to the Black College Expo, scholarships on the spot. And that we went with Miss Erica Bennett. I don't know if we're going to get back to that after COVID, but maybe she'll come back and set that up for us. Okay, nobody responded. Okay. But so that is the Black College app. This will be in the PowerPoint, so that if you would like to go back and get more information or get the link, if you have more, there's a whole organization that promotes this. I think it's a nonprofit group. But it is really an amazing thing to be able to apply to all these colleges for $20. And I think this is taking us to our next section, which is now moving into our breakout rooms. Am I correct about that? So
yes. So what we're going to be doing, everyone, is this is really for the parents. In the main room, we're going to keep the middle school and the high school parents. We're going to create a breakout room for elementary. And like we discussed previously.
Remember, elementary and middle are together.
Okay, so elementary and middle will be in the breakout room. And then high school will stay in the main room. And what we're going to do is we're just going to, because sometimes elementary, you don't want to hear the high school stuff. So we're going to separate everyone. You choose where you need to go. And all of it is going to be about laying the path to college. The breakout rooms, it's going to be around 15 to 17 minutes. And then we will come back and After that, it'll be open discussion and then we will close out the meeting.
Oh, remember, we also have Mr. Britton.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yes, Mr. Britton is online. So he's just doing a quick review of about
okay.
5 minutes.
Yeah,
Maybe even less than 5 minutes, he said when we first talked, remember?
yes.
Okay. So we're gonna
Okay,
have to do like-
so I'm gonna create this breakout room.
Do you want me to stop sharing my screen? No.
Okay, so did the box come
Yes.
up for them to be able to pick? Okay.
Um,
And let me make the host. I'm gonna take myself off host.
okay. And you allow them to pick their own room, correct?
Yeah, it's only one room, so those who
Right.
are for elementary will go there.
Oh.
Excuse me.
Elementary and middle. Raquel.
Okay, elementary and middle. So, and who am I making the host, Tamika or Dewey?
Mrs. Dewey and Tamika, can you guys tell? I can't
Mika
see.
already joined the room, but I don't know if when I go in there, if you can make me host in there and then I can help
Okay.
facilitate it.
Because I
Okay.
believe Tamika has a slide share that she needs to show, Ms. Dewey. So can you make Tamika a host also, Raquel, just in case?
I think
Let's
if you
see.
make me the host, I think I can make her a co-host in there, but she
Okay.
also shared it with me, so
Oh,
we'll-
perfect. Never
Okay.
mind.
We'll make sure it shows.
Okay, thank you so
Okay.
much.
So
You're
Dewey, I'm
welcome.
making you a host.
Okay.
How do we get to the elementary room?
Are you getting the breakout room join box?
Yeah, at the
Faith?
bottom, it should say join a breakout room.
And there's only one, so room one.
Yeah, there's
would be
only
room
one.
Or go to more. Faith?
Maybe we lost her.
No,
Yeah.
I'm here.
Okay.
Here, let me see if I can I'm just gonna assign you.
Thank you.
Maybe assign to, there you go. Room
Thank you.
one. Okay,
Now I got it. Thank you.
okay.
Hi, Faith.
Okay.
Should I go to room one or, well, I'm sharing my screen, so do I need to stay?
So do you want me to, do I have, oh,
Erica, you should already be a co-host.
okay. So I can unshare this.
Okay, and I can go to room one then with elementary.
Okay, whatever
Okay.
works for you.
Okay. All right, bye, guys.
Okay, bye.
Oh, joining a room will stop your screen sharing. I wonder how the recording will happen. We'll just,
Oh,
never thought about that.
okay, can
I don't know.
everyone,
But you gotta, Marguerite,
Yes.
close out this screen so Erica and them
Okay.
will. Oh, no, wait a minute. You gotta stay here because
Oh,
you
okay.
gotta could bring up their slides, right? Their slides are a part of this.
Yes.
I was going to, I just opened it up on my own.
Oh, okay, go ahead, Erica.
All
Yeah,
right. So
Okay.
it says it will stop screen sharing. So Erica, I'm gonna let you take over and I'm gonna stop and join room one.
Okay.
Hopefully I can come back.
A lot of great information.
Great.
Is this for elementary and middle school?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll talk like 5 minutes about elementary and then Ms. Tucker's gonna talk and then we'll open it up for questions. So it's never too early, parents, and thank you guys for joining us, families and our district staff. It's never too early to start talking about college and career awareness, readiness with our students. And so we do that at the elementary level. So part of our tier 1 counseling lessons is in the month of May, we have college and career lessons for our students. And the goal of those lessons is just to enhance their awareness about college and career. And they don't have to know, at this young of an age, what they want to do. And some of them may know, but our goal as their elementary school counselors is to just give them that exposure so that way they can see the different opportunities that they have available to them as they go through middle school, high school, and then onto their post-secondary options. So one of the things that we encourage and that parents can encourage as well is helping our students to understand what are they interested in and what are they good at. And there are a lot of different career interest inventories. And so as school counselors, we share those with our students to help them understand what are my interests, what are my strengths, and then like, how does that then translate into what I want to do in terms of an option for college or even a career. So we also want to expose them to different educational levels, and then also the connection between that educational level to different careers. And so we expose them to vocational opportunities, a second and 4-year college degree, master's degree, and then a doctoral degree. And then also, what does that mean in terms of what profession they can later be involved in? So this is just kind of like a quick little snapshot of a lesson that we would do, to show them, okay, with my high school diploma, these are the options that I can look forward to in terms of a career. And then we also do that for our vocational schools, as well as our two-year and 4-year college degrees, also for a master's degree, as well as for a doctoral degree. And so just getting them to see, okay, if I want to become a veterinarian, that means that I'm going to have to get my doctorate degree. Or if I want to become a surgeon, just so they can understand, the amount of school that they'll have to do depending on the career that they want to pursue. So that's just a quick snapshot of a lesson. What can we do now? Encourage our students to work hard in class, encourage them to build those academic, social, emotional, and life skills, because we know that school and life is challenging. So we want to make sure that our students are building skills, not only academic, but as well as the social emotional. So that way, when they get to that time where they're going on to college or going on to their career, they're ready for it. Read, be involved in extracurricular activities. It's not too early for them to start visiting colleges, or even if they are interested in a career, finding out if they can volunteer, if they're interested in politics, having them go and volunteer at their local city hall and shadow people to see, is this something that I can really see myself doing every day? So it's not too early to start doing these things. And then these are just a few resources. You can definitely go in person to visit colleges, and we encourage that, but you can also do virtual campus tours for those colleges that are not here in California that you may be interested in, or your student may be interested in. I know we heard about some HBCUs, and so this is a virtual website that you can go to do some virtual campus tours. And then also CaliforniaCareerZone.org has those interest profilers, and they're catered to our elementary students, so they can start to see, take an interest inventory to see what are my interests, what am I good at, and then based on that, what career path may be good for me based on my interest and my strengths. And I think it's time for Ms. Tucker.
All right, good afternoon. So in middle school, basically, we continue on the path that elementary has started, and we do a lot of our lessons based on the californiacolleges.edu. And in this program, students are able to explore colleges. We do awareness, strengths, and interest inventories here as well. And based on the inventories, they're able to explore different careers. Based on the careers, they can actually explore colleges that are linked to the careers. We spend a lot of time talking about the higher systems, the differences between the UCs and the Cal States, universities versus community colleges, private versus public. We talk about where the colleges are located, the sizes of the college, and just start our students thinking about just their awareness of college and envisioning where where can I envision myself? Even though we know from 6th grade through their senior year, they will change their minds several times. We just want them exploring the different colleges. We also cover FAFSA information because a lot of times students in middle school, they're becoming very aware of financial costs and needs, and a lot of times they'll shut down based on that. So we talk about FAFSA information, and our goal is just for them to understand and keep doors open so that they have choice when they get to high school. So I think we might have skipped one. So our, so we should have one in between. Do you have the one on? Okay, so so the one in between also, we do something called College and Career Kickoff every year, and we do that in October. And during October, that's a time when all of our students have exposure to different guest speakers, whether it's in person or on Zoom. We have our teachers share their experiences with colleges. We talk about their A through Gs and calculating their GPAs and everything else that they need in order to prepare for college or to be exposed to college, as well as careers. So on our College and Career Kickoff, we're not just talking about colleges. We also have a lot of different people coming from different career fields so that they can ask questions and broaden their horizons as far as what's available. Our guidance lessons and our one-on-one lessons, we do our A through G preparation again, one-on-one. We talk about high school requirements, and we draw a correlation between how well they do in middle school with how well they do in high school, as well as how that leads to how well they'll do in college beyond high school. We do our calculation, GPAs in the classroom. Individually, we sit down and we go through transcripts. We talk about credits. Why are credits important? And how credits will affect their ability to continue once they get to high school. We do academic planning with them, high school prep as far as their college classes and leading into college prep. We also do college field trips. And this, hopefully we'll get back to this. One of the things we focus on is trying to get our 7th graders on a college campus. And we have AVIT programs in middle school, which focus on preparing for college, but AVIT also makes sure that all classrooms have their A through G charts there so that our students are constantly given the vision of what A through G is and how they can be prepared for college once they enter high school. Any questions? I know I went really fast.
Yeah, I had a question. I'd actually like to pose this to you, Sharon, as well as Tamika. I just wanted to know, is there any talk about business ownership at all? Is it all career oriented toward a job? Or do you ever talk about the possibility of them thinking bigger, that I could actually be the business owner? I can be all of those careers you listed up there, but I could actually be running the business. So yeah, I might have a passion for veterinary, but how about being the owner of the veterinary clinic? Or, so is that ever brought up, entrepreneurship?
Yes, it is, particularly when we do our college kickoff and we bring guest speakers onto our campus. Generally, 1 or 2 of our guest speakers are generally business owners.
Oh,
and they
awesome.
address it that way.
Great. Yeah, I love that, because I wished growing up, as a guy in the Los Angeles County School District, I wish that was talked about more. And I wish that instead of asking me what I want to be when I grow up, I wish they asked me, what kind of lifestyle do you want to have when you grow up? Because that determines what kind of career you should take. It shouldn't be what you want to be. It should be, what kind of lifestyle do you want to have? Do you want to travel? Do you want to spend free time with your family? Do you want to have weekends off? Well, that should kind of dictate what kind of jobs you should start thinking about to align with your lifestyle, instead of being a doctor, but realizing when you become a doctor, you don't have any time to spend with your family. So it's like, I think the lifestyle component is something that would be pretty cool to implement, and talking about that more. And, these are kids, they may not know all of what their lifestyle is going to be, but just to kind of start that conversation with them.
Well, actually, one of the inventories that they do in elementary, and we also do in middle school, is, I want to say it's called the Career Cafe. I believe that's the one. And it starts off backwards and works from the lifestyle you want. Do you want a home in the city? Do you want a car? Do you want an apartment? And you work backwards. And based on that, it tells you the income that you need to earn. And then based on the income, there's different jobs and careers.
Love that. Thank you.
That's you can find it on the website too, that californiacareerzone.org. So they have different surveys that students can do to see, okay, based on the type of lifestyle, this is how much I'm going to make in this career. Is it going to equate to this type of lifestyle for me?
Right.
One of those interests on the survey is the enterprising, the initiator. So hopefully students will see that's when I have an idea and I want to start something for myself. I want to be making the decisions for myself. I want to be the boss.
Yeah.
If that's my interest, if that's my area of strength, then they know, okay, business is for me, or being an entrepreneur is for me.
Love that. Thank you.
And I also wanted to add, when the students get to high school through our CTE program, our career tech, there is an entrepreneur class. And so they work together and they create their own business and they're making business plans and figuring out how to market. So if that conversation starts early and your child's interested in that, once they get to high school, they can take that class and then have that kind of real life experience of what it's like to start a business and the finances of it and working with a group of people. So that is also an option.
Awesome. Thank you.
I heard you guys mention AVID for middle school. Are there strict requirements for that, or how is that? How are the students selected for that? I know that there's an application process at my son's school, but.
So we have AVID in middle school beginning in 7th grade. And generally we're looking for first generation college students. However, our AVID techniques are taught across the various classrooms in our schools.
Okay.
Hi, I have a really quick question. Are the schools still doing like PSATs, SATs, ACT preps to get the kids in to help them with college admissions, or are the colleges even doing those anymore, since COVID and everything?
So currently we're not doing the PSATs and the SATs because the colleges are not doing the PSATs and SATs. Prior to COVID, we actually did a PSAT 8th grade for all of our 8th grade students during college kickoff. And we also did it in 10th grade for practice. But since colleges are no longer recognizing those tests at this time, we're no longer doing them.
So since they're not recognizing them at this time, do you have, I know you're not a mind reader, I don't even know why I'm asking you this, but that's just me. Do you know if they will resume that or anytime soon, or they have like done away with the whole testing?
I honestly don't know that answer.
I don't believe they have done away with the testing. I know there's been talks about it, but for our high school students who want to go, I would encourage, that student to look at what that college, whatever their college is applying to, what they require, because I would say majority of the colleges are still requiring, SAT or ACT, but there has been discussion of, should we still have these exams? But at this time, they're still in place.
Okay, perfect.
Particularly if you're out of the state of California.
Hello, hey, I'm Jasmine. I just have a quick question about how students can make their applications more competitive, aside from, of course, the high GPAs or a certain amount of credits, but what else are colleges looking for?
Colleges are pretty much looking for a well-rounded student. So to make their applications more to stand out, you're looking at community service opportunities, you're looking at clubs and involvement in school, any type of leadership, internships that can be done. So really they're looking for that extracurricular piece, almost just as much as they're looking for the GPA at this point.
And that's something that they can start in elementary. And like, I feel like it has a double benefit to students because it helps them to realize what are my interests. Because once you do extracurricular activities, you're able to figure out, is this something I like? But then it also, you know, as Ms. Tucker said, makes them more well-rounded so that it shows the colleges this is someone who not only has focused on their academics, but has developed other parts of themselves outside of the academics.
I have another question. Is there some sort of program to kind of point out the kids who aren't necessarily like ready for college, or I don't want to say immature, but they're just not at that level? Like they get good grades, but they're just are not well versed. I don't even want to say well versed, but is there something that the schools are implementing on the middle school and high school level that, you know, like as the parent, you might look at one of your kids and you'd be like, I'm not going to waste that time or that money sending that child to school because that child is not just socially, emotionally ready for that. Are the schools identifying students like that and kind of easing them into the whole college application versus a job, like kind of breaking it down on a smaller scale for them versus the bigger scheme of things?
I would say in elementary, a lot of what we did in exposing them to those different careers is making sure that it wasn't just college, of letting students know that there are multiple ways to continue to get educated after high school. Because when you talk to them, there's even the kids in 5th grade that, like Tamika was sharing, when you go down, if you want to do this, it's a doctorate. Well, how many years is that after high school? It's 4, and then it's usually 3 more. And you got kids that are like, oh no, like I can't do school for that long. And validating that and saying, look, if you're a hands-on person or with your interest, there are these other routes that you can take. And so you don't have to go to school for that long. And a lot of those are trade or vocational. And then again, in the district, that's really where our CTE program comes in. Because if they've identified, I'm not trying to go to school for another 4 to 8 years after high school, they can complete one of our CTE pathways and graduate with a certificate and be able to work right out of high school. And so for those kids, they can do that, be in the workforce, and then, like you said, a few years down the road, even 10 years down the road, that's kind of the beauty of education now. If they go and then decide, you know what, this is actually what I want to do, or Mr. Kabayan, even like you said, maybe I've gone in this field, but now I want to go back and get like my business degree. So now I've been in it and now I want to run my own business. There are those options. So I would really encourage looking at our CTE programs because we are continuing to expand that. And I think that's one of really our underrated programs in our district, and really making sure that it's not seen as a lesser of the two. Like if you're not going to college, then you do this. It is a very valid career pathway for students. And again, those students graduate, have certificates, and can work straight out of high school in very good careers. So
well, I think I'm looking for that. Well, because I have one that's in high school as well. Well, it's my niece. She's in high school as well. So, you know, being a junior, you're getting the like deer in headlights look right now. And just by just the way that she is as a student, she doesn't get bad grades or anything, but it's a struggle to, not even a struggle, it's a constant reminder, like, hey, this needs to get done. Hey, this needs to be turned in. So of course, as a parent, you're looking at it and you're like, yeah, I don't want to set her up to fail. And this is my first time ever hearing about a CTE program. And we've been in the district for how long? I mean, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, how do we get that identified at her high school versus, you know, us just being on these meetings and you're like, oh, where do I get this information from? You know, that's
Definitely.
my thing.
And if you, I can put my email in the chat, and if you wanted to email me, I can get you information for your specific site, because we have CTE programs at all of the high schools, but some of them have specific pathways, but I can give you that information. And I know with talking with Ms. Rucker as well, one of those things that we're going to be talking about in February are those different pathways. Again, making sure that we're doing a better job of communicating all the different options. So if you're interested in that and what pathways are at your niece's specific site, feel free to email me. Again, I'll put my email in there and I can get you additional information.
Yes, please. I definitely would like that information.
Okay.
Can I add one caveat? Like, let me just add really one quick thing. I want to say that another pathway, it's also like the military, to be perfectly honest. I joined like 17 right out of high school. I know, like, coming from Florida, my mom, she told me right off the bat, like, coming from a single parent home, hey, honey, we don't have any money for school. So this is, we can go to school, get loans and stuff like that. I did not go, like I said, I went straight into the military. My plan was to do 4 years, and I'm on like my 17th year. I did 10 years active duty, and I'm finishing out the part of my reserves. But can I say that the military is, some parts of it is good, some parts not so well. I traveled, seen a lot of different countries. I met a lot of different people who are like my family now, but they paid for my associate's, bachelor's, and my master's. And so now, being in the reserves, I have the reserves. I work for the government because of that military affiliation. And then now I'm also like a therapist. So that also has happened too. Just to throw that out there as well. So if, let's just say, they really don't want to, they don't know, but then at the same time, they want to instill like structure, discipline, and also like extra money, they can do the 4 years and be set for life. So just throwing that out there.
Thank you, Ms. Guerra. That's a really good point.
Yeah, it is. And I think that's what one of our vision was in February, to go deeper so we could talk more about all the options, including military, vocational. Mr. Coben, I love the idea about the business. So I think that really was our vision, because we knew we weren't going to be able to do it in an hour and a half on a Wednesday and Tuesday night. So we know that we need to go deeper, and that's kind of why we are so excited. So Ms. Guerra, we might be tapping you to give a little talk about that process of going from military to college.
Yes, of course. And then
okay, super. Raquel is texting me really strong directives that our time is up. And I'm trying to tell her we are in the middle of a discussion, but I think she's going to close the room on us. But so can I thank all the counselors, Tamara and Tamika and Sharon. You guys, amazing. I mean, I think this is the first time I think we've ever been able to get all of our elementary counselors together in this way and present this information and connecting it to our middle school. So to me, such great information. And I know we're going to tap you for more in February. I think you'll say yes. If you guys have questions, feel free to put them in the chat and we can follow up with them. I've gotten a couple emails out of there. So I'm going to tell Raquel to close the room unless you guys want to keep talking until the last second, or because it is 8:10.
So, Marguerite, I was going to say too, like the community college track for those students who haven't made up their minds quite yet.
Yes,
because it's much more affordable. And maybe we can have someone talk about how students in Riverside County can actually go to some of the community colleges for free. So that saves parents a lot of money, and it gives students a time to like figure out, okay, what pathway do I want to take? And then if they go to a smaller college, I think it'll help too to make sure they have that support. I'm
hoping the high school meeting hit on that, because that was one of the slides. Had a community college on there also, so I'm hoping they got a chance to go into it. but we definitely want to go more into that because we do have free community college now, I think, in so many schools, I think for the first year or so. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much. I think I'm going to tell her to shut the room. Are you guys okay with that? Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Very valuable.
Thank you so much. Mr.
Thank
Kobe, and I'm going to
you.
email you.
Yes.
All right, maybe she's not going to shut it because she was being real bossy. But maybe we just leave the room. And I think if we leave the room, we'll go back to the main room, right, everybody? Okay. All right, see you there, guys.
One second.
We're back, Raquel. The other
Okay.
breakout rooms up. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Faith. Okay, so I want to introduce Jay Britton. He also has a student that attends MVUSD, but he also runs this wonderful business. And he's going to give you a quick update, just a little blurb of what he's going to come back and do in February. Okay.
Yes, thank you for that. But yes, like Ms. Raquel said, I've been in the community for a while, helped out at Mesa, seen Ham, shout out to Ham. I seen Mrs. Williams, she was Michaela's teacher for 2 years, 4th and 5th. Mrs. Ruckers, like, man, Rail Ranch has it going on, but I'm ecstatic to be here and to impact. So really quickly, I ran some ideas past Mrs. Ruckers, and I'm like, these kids really need the information, the empowerment to do these things, and it's going to help them get ready for college. So mindset, nutrition, fitness, it all starts there. So we want to equip them with the tools that they need to be successful. So my idea is to create a program, right? A downloadable program that they can have access, with their smart devices, right? We're going to, with the mindset, create a journal for them, give them resources, for meditation, things of that nature. We want to give them nutritional structure, framework of what to eat to, help them perform, be a high performer. That's what we want. And last piece will be fitness. And again, downloadable programs for them to have access to. So however I can help, I'm a resource and I will be here for the AAPAC.
Thank you, Mr. Britton. And I don't know, Mr. Britton, this is actually, he's doing this out of just trying to help us really bring our kids back from COVID. And I think his vision plan is to make it accessible to as many families, children as possible. So we're going to go deeper with him in February to kind of kick off our Black History Month. And he's going to be part of that whole total that we're going to connect the college, career, vocational, with actually being physically fit in the mind and the body and and nutrition. He did say that. I forgot.
Yes, important.
My least strongest area. So I know we'll have time for more of those things to go deeper, but at this point, I think, am I going to the next slide? Or Eric, Raquel, I think you have control.
Oh,
I think, yes, you do. So just a quick, before we let everybody go, and if people, this will all be on the AAPAC website, more about information. This particular group, Diversify Our Narrative, is putting on a free workshop to help students organize themselves for college and get through writing their essays. And that is a free group that is doing that virtually, and you just need to register. It's coming up on November 14th. This is another community group that reached out to us. And they are, I think they're based out of Paris, but I'm not positive. But I think they've partnered with other school districts, but they are offering different things to just help them, just help students get through the school year and do better, and also enlighten them a little bit more about African-American history, culture, and just bring in some of those, tie those things into academics. So these will also be on there. And I think there's one more slide.
I think it's the final one. Oh yeah, here we go.
And then these are also, this is the Parent Symposium has been on our APAC website since, I want to say November, when Ms. Bennett shared it with us. But it is tomorrow, but we just want to put that in there just because we do want to remind people that we do post things on the APAC website. If you're a family and you're trying to find out what's going on or what community events are contacting us. And then this is My Sister's Keeper. They're doing another empowerment group. I know they've spoke to us many times, so that's also on there. So I'm not going to read it because we're already over time, but that will all be on the APAC website that you can go back and look at the PowerPoint. And
it's in December, so you have a little bit more time to register.
Yes. Okay, I feel like we're at the end. Just a reminder of our upcoming dates that are coming up. I think Black History Month is not on there, but we are going to be doing a series of events. So it's going to be either weekly, bi-weekly events that will probably be virtual, possibly, I'm assuming, during our Black History Month celebration.
And also, there was an opt-out form sent, or opt-in form, and we hope that you opt in and make sure that you check that you want to keep receiving emails from the AAPAC. And hopefully going forward, like when you register your students, this form will be a part of that. But right now we're starting out slow. We know a lot of people miss the email, but if you want to click on this link when we upload the PowerPoint, it will give you the opportunity to opt into our emails, because sometimes we get like information just on a whim from organizations, and we like to send that out to the parents so you can be aware of what is going on in the community and nearby cities.
Okay.
I think that's it. Any questions, comments?
Thank you everyone for staying on when we are over time.
And Ms. Walters put in the chat that regarding the engineering program, you can email her and she can give you all the direct information. Anything else? Okay, well, thank you everyone for coming. We appreciate
you. Thank you so much for all our presenters, families. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you to the staff that was on and the parents.
All the counselors, admin. Thank you guys for coming.
All of our speakers.
Yes.